You think you're clean, and by the standards you grew up with, you probably are. You shower, you wash your hands, you keep a tidy home. By every measure you were ever taught, you're doing everything right. But here's the strange thing. If a Japanese person spent an ordinary week living the way most Westerners do, there are several completely normal everyday habits, things you don't think about even once, that would quietly unsettle them. Not because they're judgmental people. Japanese culture is, if anything, famously polite about this sort of thing. But because Japan draws the line between clean and unclean in a fundamentally different place than the West does, and once you see where that line actually sits, you can't unsee it. You start noticing it in your own home, your own bathroom, your own daily routine. This isn't about one culture being better than another. It's about two cultures that genuinely deeply disagree about what clean even means. And the gap between them is much wider and much stranger than you'd expect. Today, we're looking at 8 everyday hygiene habits that most Westerners never think twice about, and that a Japanese person would find genuinely uncomfortable, sometimes even a little shocking. Stay with me until number 5, because that's the one almost no foreigner sees coming. It flips something you consider the peak of a relaxing, clean evening completely on its head. And number 3 is a habit that has become such a problem in Japan that it now has an official term in the workplace, with major companies running formal training seminars about it. But all of it makes far more sense once you understand one piece of context first. So let's start there, because without it, none of the 8 will fully land. The one idea that makes all 8 make sense. In most of the Western world, cleanliness is essentially practical. Something is clean if it doesn't have visible dirt on it, doesn't smell bad, and won't make you sick. It's a matter of hygiene and health, and that's roughly where the thinking ends. In Japan, cleanliness runs much deeper than that. It's not only practical, it's closer to a spiritual and social condition. Part of this traces back to Shinto, Japan's native religion, which has a concept called kegare, meaning impurity or pollution. In Shinto belief, kegare isn't just physical dirt. It's a kind of spiritual contamination that weakens your connection to what's pure and good, and the act of cleansing, called harai, restores it. This isn't a fringe idea or ancient history. It has shaped Japanese attitudes toward cleanliness for well over 1,000 years, and it's still woven into daily life today. What that produces practically is a far more precise map of clean and unclean than most Westerners carry. Where Western culture draws one broad line between dirty and clean, Japan draws several careful distinctions. What comes from outside stays outside. What touches your body stays separate from what touches other people. And what you release into a shared space is your responsibility to the people who share it. Cleanliness in Japan isn't just about you not getting sick. It's a form of consideration for everyone around you. Hold that map in your mind, because every single habit on this list comes back to it. The reason these Western habits register as disgusting to a Japanese sensibility isn't that Westerners are dirty people. It's that these habits violate one of those careful distinctions. They let the outside in, or mix the personal with the shared, or push impurity into a common space. Once you see the map, the whole list clicks. Let's begin. Number 1, wearing your outdoor shoes all through the house. Think about your own morning. You walk to your car across the driveway. You step through a gas station, a grocery store parking lot, maybe a public restroom, a gym floor. Every surface you cross leaves something on the bottom of your shoes. And then you walk straight into your home. Across the kitchen floor, over the living room carpet, right up to where your kids play on the ground or your dog sleeps. To a Japanese person, this is one of the most viscerally uncomfortable things about many Western homes. In Japan, it simply does not happen. And not because of a rule anyone has to consciously remember. It's because of the jenkin, the entryway found in essentially every Japanese home. A small space, usually a step lower than the rest of the house, where outdoor shoes come off and indoor life begins. It is not a suggestion. It is the line between the outside world and the sanctuary of the home. Crossing that line with your shoes on would feel, to a Japanese person, like carrying street filth directly to the dinner table. Because in a home where people sometimes sit and eat near the floor, the path quite literally leads there. Here's the framing that makes the difference so stark. In the West, the floor is just a surface you walk on. In Japan, the floor is a living space. People sit on it, children play on it, meals are sometimes set out near it. Keeping it clean isn't fussiness, It's basic care for the people who actually live on it. Researchers studying household contamination have found that shoe soles can carry hundreds of thousands of bacteria, along with traces of chemicals and outdoor allergens. To walk all of that across the space where your family lives, and think nothing of it, is precisely what unsettles the Japanese sensibility. The shift: in Japan, the shoes come off at the door not because they're strict, but because they're precise about exactly where the outside world is allowed to end. That's number 1. Number 2, blowing your nose in public, at the table, in front of others. Here's one that genuinely surprises most Westerners, because it's the exact reverse of what you were taught. In most Western households, the lesson growing up was, don't sniffle, it's rude and annoying. Blow your nose quickly and quietly and be done with it. Endless sniffling is the embarrassing option. Blowing your nose is the polite, hygienic thing to do. In Japan, it's flipped entirely. Blowing your nose in public, even quietly, even discreetly, is considered meiwaku, a word that means something close to causing a nuisance or a burden to the people around you. The sound of it, the visibility of it, and above all, the fact that you're expelling bodily matter into a shared space, all of it is seen as an imposition on everyone nearby. So what do Japanese people do instead? They sniffle, quietly and patiently, until they can reach a private space, a restroom, an empty stairwell, to take care of it properly and out of sight. During hay fever season, the soft sound of sniffling from multiple directions on a train is completely normal and accepted. A tissue being used openly is not. Now, I'll be honest with you, this one has some internal disagreement even within Japan, and a minority of Japanese people find the sniffling habit itself a bit much. But the dominant norm is clear and consistent. The nose is dealt with in private, and the reason traces straight back to kegare. Bodily matter leaving the body in a shared public space introduces a kind of impurity into an environment everyone is sharing. The act itself isn't wrong. It's the location that's the problem. Do it in private, and it's completely fine. Do it at the dinner table, and to a Japanese sensibility, you've just brought impurity into a shared space in the most direct way possible. The shift: it's not the act Japan objects to, it's the audience. The private body and the shared space are meant to stay separate. That's number 2. Number 3, drowning yourself in perfume or cologne. In most Western countries, a signature scent is considered a mark of style, a finishing touch, even a small confidence signal. You walk into a room and your presence arrives a few seconds before you do. That's often seen as a good thing, memorable, put together, attractive. In Japan, those few seconds are precisely the problem. Japan has a formalized concept called kogai, meaning scent pollution, and it sits right alongside noise pollution and visual pollution, as something that imposes on shared space without anyone's consent. And this has gone far beyond theory. In Japanese workplaces, there's now an established, widely used term, sumahara, a combination of smell and harassment. It covers not just body odor, but strong cologne, heavy perfume, and overpowering fabric softener. Any scent that carries across a train car or an office and forces itself on the people nearby. Major companies, including household name corporations, have held formal HR training seminars for employees on what constitutes sumahara and how to avoid it. This is a real workplace issue in Japan, not a curiosity. Consumer research consistently shows that in Japan, the preferred personal scent is essentially no scent at all. The ideal fragrance is odorlessness. Japan's fragrance market is structured around this. The most popular products are labeled subtle or odorless, and when Japanese people do wear fragrance, they apply it sparingly, often a single light touch on the wrist, if at all. The idea of dousing yourself before leaving the house so that your scent fills every room you enter is genuinely off-putting from this perspective. The root of it is wa, the deep Japanese value of social harmony. A strong scent that enters someone else's sensory space without their permission is a small but real disruption of that harmony, and Japan takes small disruptions of shared space seriously. It's worth sitting with this for a second, because it reveals how differently the two cultures think. In the West, we're so used to scent as self-expression that we never consider it as something that affects others. Japan considered it, decided that it does, and then made a word for exactly when it crosses the line. The shift: the question Japan asks about fragrance isn't, does this smell good? It's, Does this enter someone else's space without their agreement? Those are very different questions. That's number 3. Number 4, eating on the go, walking, driving, scrolling coffee in one hand, phone in the other, a breakfast sandwich somewhere in the mix, all while walking to work or sitting in traffic. In most Western cities, this isn't just acceptable. It's practically celebrated as efficiency, as being productively busy, as making the most of your time. In Japan, this practice has a name: tabaruki, combining to eat and to walk. And in most everyday public contexts, it's considered poor manners. This is more than a vague cultural preference. In 2019, the city of Kamakura, a major tourist destination near Tokyo, actually passed a formal ordinance specifically asking visitors not to eat while walking, and put up signs in multiple languages. Not fines, signs. But the fact that a local government took formal action tells you how seriously this behavior is regarded. The reasons are layered. There's a practical one. Japan has very few public trash bins, so if you eat while walking, you're left carrying your wrapper, your cup, your skewer, until you can find somewhere to dispose of it, which could be a long while, but the deeper reason is cultural, and it connects to a broader idea about hygiene and respect. In Japan, eating is not a task to be combined with something else. It's an act that deserves its own moment and its own attention. There's a strong Zen Buddhist influence on Japanese food culture that emphasizes mindfulness. The food should be noticed, appreciated, and present with you. Eating while walking, while scrolling, while rushing, is seen as a kind of disrespect to the food, to whoever prepared it, and to the experience of eating itself. There's also a simple cleanliness dimension. Cramming food into your mouth while your hands have been touching door handles, phones, and handrails in the middle of a dirty street doesn't sit well with the Japanese sense of keeping the clean and the unclean separate. There are exceptions, of course: festivals, food markets, designated eating zones. Japan isn't rigid about it, but the everyday default is clear. Walk and eat, and you've signaled to everyone around you that you don't have the time to actually notice what you're putting into your body. The shift: Japan doesn't separate eating from how you eat. The act and the attention are meant to be one thing. That's number 4. Number 5, washing your body in the bathwater. Here it is, the one I promised you. The habit that creates genuine confusion and sometimes real discomfort when Japanese people understand what's happening in a typical Western bathroom. And it flips something most Westerners consider the height of a clean, relaxing evening completely upside down. Here it is, plainly. Most Westerners wash their bodies in the bath. You fill the tub, maybe add some bubbles, you get in, and the water does the work. You soak in it, you wash in it, and when you climb out, you consider yourself clean. To a Japanese person, this is not clean. It's close to the opposite of clean. In Japanese home culture, the ofuro, the household bath, is not for washing at all. It is for soaking. Cleansing happens first, separately, at a shower or washing station beside the tub. You scrub your entire body, you rinse off every last trace of soap and dirt, and only then, once you are already completely clean, do you enter the bath. The bath isn't there to clean you. It's there to warm you, relax you, and restore you. This is why the same bath water in a Japanese family's tub is often shared by multiple family members over the course of an evening, because every single person enters it already clean, so the water stays clean. Nobody is washing their dirt into it. Now hold the Western version up against that. From the Japanese perspective, filling a tub, getting in dirty, and soaking is sitting in warm water that is slowly collecting the day's grime, sweat, and oils off your own skin, and then continuing to sit in it. The thing many Westerners consider the peak of a relaxing, hygienic evening looks through a Japanese lens, like marinating in your own dirt. This principle extends to communal bathing as well. Onsen, Japan's natural hot spring baths, have operated on exactly this logic for centuries. Every onsen has a dedicated washing area, and you are expected to clean yourself completely before entering the shared water. Stepping straight into the communal bath without washing first is one of the most serious breaches of etiquette there is, a genuine violation of the shared space. The shift. Japan separates two things most Westerners have merged: cleansing and soaking. One removes what doesn't belong on you, the other restores what does. They happen in that order, never at the same time. That's number 5. Number 6, using only toilet paper. And considering that finished, Let me give you a single number first, because it tells the whole story. In Japan, well over 80% of households have a bidet function toilet, the kind that cleans with water. Government surveys have consistently put the figure above 80% for years, and it continues to climb. In the United States, by contrast, the share of toilets with a bidet function sits at roughly 2.5%. That gap, 80% versus 2.5%, tells you something profound about how completely differently these two cultures understand bathroom hygiene. Japan's modern bidet toilet, known as the washlet, was introduced in 1980, and its spread came from a simple, direct piece of cultural logic. If your hands were dirty, you would wash them with water. You wouldn't just wipe them with dry paper and call them clean. So why, the reasoning went, would the rest of the body be any different? A famous television commercial in the early 1980s made this point so plainly that it shifted an entire nation's habits, essentially asking, if your hands get dirty, you wash them. Isn't it the same for the rest of you? That question has gone largely unanswered in most Western bathrooms for 4 decades, and the hygiene point isn't trivial. Dermatologists and health writers who've looked at this note that dry wiping alone can leave residue behind, and with vigorous wiping, can cause irritation, whereas cleansing with water is gentler and more thorough. This is not a luxury item in Japan. Walk into a convenience store, an office building, a train station, or a mid-range apartment, and you'll find a washlet. It is the baseline expectation, not a splurge. So, from the Japanese perspective, finishing up with dry paper alone and considering yourself clean is comparable to washing dirt off your hands with a dry napkin and declaring them done. Technically, you did something. But practically, to a culture built around cleansing with water, it feels incomplete in a way that's genuinely off-putting. The shift, Japan didn't decide paper alone wasn't enough. Because they're obsessive, they decided it because the logic is simple. Water cleans, paper mostly just moves things around. That's number 6. Number 7, double dipping and serving from shared dishes with your own utensils. This one is quiet. Nobody says anything about it. No alarm goes off. But in a traditional Japanese dining setting, it absolutely registers, and it connects to everything else on this list. The habit is this: reaching into a shared dish with the same fork, spoon, or chopsticks that have just been in your mouth to serve yourself or others. In Japan, there's a specific awareness around this, and a specific term, jikabashi, for the act of using your personal chopsticks, the eating ends that have touched your lips and your saliva, to take food directly from a communal dish. It's considered unhygienic, and not in a vague or theoretical way. Very concretely, the end of your utensil carries traces of your saliva. That transfers to the shared food, and from there, it transfers to everyone else who eats from the same dish. Japanese dining etiquette handles this with a simple, elegant system. At formal or semi-formal meals, separate serving chopsticks called toribashi are provided. You use those to move food from the communal dish to your own plate. And in more casual settings, without dedicated serving utensils, the common courtesy is to flip your own chopsticks around and use the clean blunt ends, the ones that haven't been in your mouth, to serve from the shared dish. It's a tiny gesture, and it takes half a second, but it communicates something meaningful. I'm aware this space is shared, and I'm being careful with it for your sake. This is the exact same logic that runs through every single item on this list. Shoes come off because the floor is shared space. The nose is blown in private because the air is shared space. Scent is kept minimal because everyone's senses are shared space. And food is served from the clean end because the meal is shared space. Japan doesn't just value cleanliness for its own sake, it values cleanliness as a form of consideration for other people. What you keep clean is, in the end, an expression of how much thought you're giving to the people around you. That single idea is the thread tying all 8 of these habits together. The shift, flipping the chopsticks, takes half a second, and what it says is, I thought about you before I reached for the food. In Japan, that half second of consideration matters more than almost anything. That's number 7. Number 8, letting the clean and the dirty mix everywhere in the home. We end with the habit that underlies several of the others, and it's less a single action than a whole way of organizing a home. In many Western homes, there's essentially one category of clean. The same towel might be used in multiple ways. The same slippers walk from the bathroom to the kitchen to the bedroom. The bathroom, the toilet, the bath, and the sink often share one undivided space. There's little separation between zones of different cleanliness. It's all just the house. Japan draws these lines with great care, and this is where the Japanese hygiene map becomes most visible. The clearest example is the toilet. In many Japanese homes, the toilet is in its own small separate room, apart from the bath and the sink, because the toilet is considered its own distinct hygiene zone. And crucially, there's a dedicated pair of toilet slippers that stay in that room. You step out of your regular indoor slippers and into the toilet slippers when you enter, and you step back out of them when you leave. Anything that touches the toilet floor stays with the toilet floor. It does not travel into the kitchen, it does not walk into the living room, and it certainly does not end up in the bedroom. Visitors sometimes forget and walk out still wearing the toilet slippers, a small mistake that instantly, and a little embarrassingly, marks them as unfamiliar with the custom. To a Japanese sensibility, the Western habit of letting everything mix, of not separating the toilet zone from the living zone, of using the same footwear and the same surfaces across areas of very different cleanliness, allows contamination to spread freely through the home in a way that feels genuinely uncomfortable. The whole point of the Japanese system is to contain impurity, to keep it isolated in its zone rather than letting it wander through the entire living space. A home without these boundaries, from that perspective, is a home where the dirty and the clean are constantly, invisibly blending together. The shift, Japan keeps impurity contained in its own zone, rather than letting it travel freely through the home. The boundaries are the whole point. That's number 8, bringing it all together. So let's gather all 8, because the pattern underneath them is the real lesson. Outdoor shoes through the house, blowing your nose in shared spaces, overpowering perfume, eating on the go, washing your body in the bathwater, using only dry paper in the bathroom, serving from shared dishes with your own utensils, and letting the clean and the dirty mix freely throughout the home. Notice what connects every single one. Not one of these is about Westerners being lazy or dirty people. Every one is about a single deeper difference. Japan draws the line between clean and unclean in a more careful place. And this is the key. It treats cleanliness as an act of consideration for others, not just protection for yourself. Shoes off for the sake of everyone who lives on the floor, nose blown in private for the sake of everyone sharing the air, scent kept low for the sake of everyone sharing the room, the serving chopsticks flipped for the sake of everyone sharing the meal. What looks from the outside like a set of oddly strict hygiene rules is really a single beautiful idea. What you keep clean is a measure of how much you think about the people around you. And here's what makes this genuinely useful rather than just interesting. You don't have to adopt all 8 of these tomorrow, but you might pick one, the one that surprised you most, or the one you can't stop thinking about now. And simply try it. Take your shoes off at the door for a week, or try flipping your chopsticks at your next shared meal, or just notice. The next time you're about to do one of these things that, somewhere in the world, an entire culture would pause at this exact moment. That noticing alone changes how you move through your day. Now I want to hear from you. Out of these 8, which one surprised you the most? And be honest, which one are you a little guilty of yourself? Tell me the number 1 through 8 down in the comments. And if this gave you a genuinely new way of seeing your own daily habits, share it with one person who you know would find it fascinating. They'll never look at their bathroom or their bathwater the same way again. I'll see you in the next one.